This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports in Chaco. We're delighted to be joined by the maddest box of frogs of a fighter you could ever find, Sean McComb. How are you, mate?
Okay, mate. Good. Thanks for having me on, mate. Pleasure as always.
It's been a while since obviously we've had you on. Obviously, I know with COVID and everything else. I think the last time we had you on, you didn't have a child. You obviously didn't have a child at that stage and everything else, and now
he must have heard you. He must have heard you.
He's back on for his debut.
Say hello. Choosing myself.
Get the muscles out.
Get the candy apples up, son. Aye, so yeah. Life's a lot different now. I think the last time we actually had a chat was at the Ulster Hall last November.
I was down in Pete's gym in February. I was down.
Oh, that's right. So you're right. Wasn't too long ago.
But obviously since then, you know, I know when you'd said to me then was like, I'm moving up to 140. All needs 3 or 4 weeks notice, and you know, 5 months down the line, you know, we're still obviously, well, we've got to the stage now. You've obviously been announced in the Conlan Moraga card, but it's obviously been a frustrating time for you, I guess, and the fact that you've been wanting to fight, but just fight offers just aren't coming.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, I only need a few weeks' notice because I've been in camp for so long. I'm fit and good to go. My weight's good because I've moved up to 140, and I can manage okay. So I'm happy enough for that. And I was just looking dates now. I had 3 or 4 fights fell through throughout the year. Big fights, 2 big opportunities for me. All fell through, and I was just a bit gutted about it because a lot of them were like could be career defining. You know what I mean? There was a couple of Commonwealth title shots in there fell through, and a big one with Ohara Davies obviously fell through. So it was just put me in them basically, just put me in, and then I wasn't even sure if I was going to go on the field for it. I just thought it would have been certain. And then it didn't happen for ages. It was going to going to happen, so I had no trust in it was going to happen. And then obviously just there last week it was announced. I was buzzing about it, and I sort of have trust issues now with shows going ahead because they're not the last 3 or 4 fell through. So I was told I'm going to be on the field. But until I was actually announced, still didn't trust it.
It's funny how you know, like when you sort of look back your debut and you had 7 or 8 fights, and you sort of where you're in that positivity, you're going, I'm fighting, I'm fighting here, I'm fighting there, and then all of a sudden now where you get that where it's the negativity sometimes that people don't see in the sport, where you think you're fighting, you're training for a fight, you're eating the right foods and everything else, and then it's like, no, fight's not happening. You're going, what do you mean? You know, it's crazy how that swings and roundabouts thing of boxing can change very quickly. And I guess it's a dark side sometimes of boxing that a lot of boxers hate, the fact that you only get paid when you fight, you know, so yeah. It's getting them fights.
No, that's it. It's very costly for a boxer. There's no opportunities there. And the one thing that's kept me going is like I know that there's going to be an opportunity coming, and I'm just like thinking about that level now. There has to be. There was a few like names throughout the year. Obviously, they fell through. There was one for Sandor Martin. He came looking to fight, and I seen Ohara Davies sent me a contract for a fight, and then I was like, you know what, these opportunities are going to come because of these types of people who are at that level are going to offer my name a fight. Although they didn't go through, they didn't follow through with it. It means I'm thought of, and I went, there's going to be a big opportunity here. Something's brewing big. Like I just need to get back out there again and just show with that level that I'm more than capable. And that kept me sort of going. On top of that, I really enjoy the training in Dublin, which kept it enjoyable for me. So it's not only the fact that I'm going down to train and fucking disheartened. I'm actually enjoying it. You know what I mean? So Pete's training is phenomenal. All the lads down there are bringing the best out of each other, and I just feel like I'm in a good place mentally. Whereas before, I had just stay head up, man, fuck this, I'm on the rip. Basically it.
I guess I'd say the age of sort of growing up, obviously you're a father and everything else, now you have your own business and everything else, so you sort of have to have that wise man head sort of in there to go, right, well, this is bad, it's happened, but you're taking the good out of it. You've always been very positive in the fact that you'll always find the positive in every scenario. So I guess extra time with Pete, obviously all the training you have, it's only going to obviously help you further. Obviously, when you do get a fight, you obviously have a fight in 2 weeks' time, and then you could potentially go straight back and get announced for another fight, and you're ready to go again.
Yeah, as I said, I was speaking to Lee, manager, and I says to Lee, look, let's get this fair of the way. Let's just get in, get the rust off. And Lee says, we'll look at October again. We'll look towards October, getting the fight, some sort of. We've talked about different opponents and stuff. Obviously Kaisee Benjamin was mentioned for Commonwealth title eliminator. I'm not sure what's happening there with him. I think he may be going for British title now. Which is fair enough. So I don't really know where I stand, but I do know that Lee's still planning on getting me out in October. I'm not sure if I'll still go ahead with Commonwealth title or not. I'm not sure what well with the Commonwealth Council and Sam Maxwell and stuff as well. So the main thing is getting over this fight first, and then think about that the back end yet. So I'm hoping to get out 2 weeks time, and then again October, so we can finish the year strong and finish the year on a high.
I guess it's sort of, you come up 4 years of pro. Like, front of your debut was actually supposed to be Michael Conlan's homecoming card in 2018, but obviously your medical didn't come in time. Does it sort of now, where you had that obviously a bad period where you're sort of going, I wanted to fight, you'd sold tickets, you sponsors, everything else, where you're sort of now you're getting to tick that box of the SSE arena, then rather than going to a show and drinking pints and enjoying and having a bit of crack, you're going to get the experience being in the ring and obviously having a fight yourself?
Yeah, I'm actually really, really looking forward to fighting the SSE arena now. I've always got great support in Belfast. Even like last year in the field in the Falls Park, that was my first fight back up coming off a loss, and the atmosphere and the welcome I've received from the crowd was unbelievable. Coming off the back of the defeat, so I knew like it was real support, proper support, even through defeat. Still had great support, and in any fight that I've ever been to in the past in the SSE arena with Carl Frampton, even Ryan Burnett, McComb, Tom McKenna, all the ones that's been there over the years, it's the atmosphere has always been unbelievable, and it's something I'm really looking forward to. It's a new experience for me. It's something I'm really looking forward to. So happy days.
It's something sort of Jim had put to me obviously a couple of days before the announcement, saying rather than Falls Park this year, what about the SSE? And they obviously the fight fan in you straight away goes SSE, brilliant. It's been 4 years since it's been there, but the atmosphere that obviously you'll know from being there in the past, the atmosphere is incredible. It's totally different to the outdoor venue that Falls Park has. Don't get me wrong, Falls Park's amazing, but that roof on the top that creates that atmosphere just feels like you're sort of in a wind tunnel, and electrifying, sort of, they'd say, nearly it's like the Rockets, like an electrifying moment.
100%. As I say, it's an arena. It's an arena. It's made for these fights. It's made for these big nights. And as you say, the Falls Park is powerful because it's part of the feel. It's part of the festival. It gives people local an opportunity to get in and see these big fights, where I think maybe with it being in the SSE arena, it might not have as much attraction locally. As all that's the only downfall that I would say. And because a lot of people about the road are asking me, like, why isn't that in the park? Why isn't that in the park? Why isn't that in the park? And it's just repetitive that I'm answering these questions, and I don't know why it's not in the park. But the thing is, it's still going ahead. And I says, and you should still be supporting the local fighters if you're a boxing fan. That shouldn't be the case. It's not in the park, so I'm not going. Because what are you going for? You're either going to watch boxing or you're going to party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it seems like now that the real fans will be in the SSE arena, and that's the real support you want. So happy days.
Exactly. I know that Jamie had sort of mentioned to me that it was down to obviously the Brexit and everything else, the costs and everything else got up in price. I think that the price of materials for obviously the construction stuff had doubled in price, so it just wasn't feasible then to do Falls Park this year.
Understandable. Very understandable.
Definitely is. But what a cracking card as well. Like, I've put up quite a lot of times, and obviously Thomas Carty been at it the other day. There's sort of a blend in the card for everybody. You've obviously mixed return. You have Tyrone McKenna in a battle of blood. It's sort of like it's like a WWE moment. Who's going to bleed first, sort of thing, between him and Jenkins. Paulie obviously defending his belt. Lewis Crocker back. You probably couldn't ask for a better card to be on.
There's a lot of headlining acts there's a lot of headlining acts on one show. Like there's 5 or 6 people there who's probably headlined their own show already. Me, Lewis, Paulie could headline his own show. I'm not sure if he ever has. Tom McKenna, McConlan. I mean, you've a lot of names there that could definitely headline on show, and then you have the likes of Kurt Walker coming through, Kieran Malloy, Paddy Donovan. There are people that you will in the future come and watch headline shows. You know what I mean? So it's an incredible show they put on in Belfast, such a small city, for everyone to be from here, like locally. It's just unbelievable.
When you see obviously some of the Irish fights being obviously put together as well, obviously Colin Murphy and Ruan Farrell and probably a strange one for you and James McGovern and Tony McGlynn fighting. Obviously you're good mates with James, but you train with Tony. You're sort of having to stand on the fence and go, you know, just have a good fight, lads.
Because it will be a great fight. I'm not even sitting on the fence. I just think it'll be a great fight. And I've spoke to a few people and they've said I think it'll be a really boring fight. I actually don't think it will. I don't think it will. They both have that style. Yes, people are saying that, but if you're a boxing purist, you'll enjoy it. And that's what I think. I think I'll really enjoy it. A really good clash of styles, good thinking battle. And it'll be down to boxing IQ on who wins it, I think. And they're both great lads. So all I can do is just sit back, enjoy it, and relax, and just take my hat off to both lads for taking the fight so early in this career. Like, you know what I mean? I'll stand by them, win or lose, either or.
I think it's one of them ones because obviously they both only sort of fought journeyman level so far. I know I've obviously said to James and stuff as well that we haven't really seen him out of first or second gear. When obviously Jamie was trying to match you previously in Ulster Hall shows, it was very hard to match you because obviously they were thinking they were matching you to a talent that was going to do you obviously take you rounds, and you obviously Miroslav Srbin that was out in the round, and you were fighting the other guys and you're going, you know, is this all there is? Whereas with James, you're sort of going, and even with Tony as well, let's see how much they actually have, and it'll propel them even further.
Oh, 100%. As I said, it's not by both lads after win, lose or draw. Like, it's just to be thought of for future shows. And like we've seen in the past, that's a problem. I don't see enough of domestic fights. People are afraid to take these domestic fights, but we've seen it in the past where people who have took domestic fights and lost have still catapulted on. And like, even if you look at Kevin Gwynn, for example, he beat me. He lost to James Tennyson, and then he's went on and he's propelled. He beat me. Now he won a Commonwealth title. He's now a Commonwealth British lightweight champion. He's pushing on after and he lost to Joe Cardenas, where was 2 domestic fights he lost. But he defended him. He's pushing on now, and that's what comes with taking these domestic fights. So it's definitely beneficial.
Do you believe that sort of with your defeat that it's sort of maybe cheat? You know, because sometimes I guess you can get into that thought process of going, I'm untouchable, I'm Floyd Mayweather, I'm going to retire 50-0. But with you losing, do you think that it actually maybe helped change things? Obviously, I guess it did change in the way that you went to Pete, but do you think it changed things in terms of mindset and obviously knowing what defeat, you've obviously experienced defeat as an amateur, but knowing as a defeat as a pro, where you don't want to have that again?
Yeah, 100%. It does. It changes your way of thinking. My way of thinking at that time was I was nowhere near ready for starters, but I still thought I was going to win. I thought I'm good enough to still win this fight, no matter what. So I'll just get in and fight and win. But when I was in there, I didn't want to be here for starters. So it was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, in my head, I was going, this fella shouldn't even be hitting me at all. So that was my indicator. What am I doing? Get me out. That was basically it. So I know not to go in that frame of mind every game, because at the end of the day, we're all. He's training for me, and I'm training for him. I need to take him seriously. At the time, my camp was terrible because of COVID and being away and back forward and all this shit that we've already spoken about in the past. But it's definitely helped me get my way of thinking now. So I know it won't happen again. It will never happen again. And I take everything seriously, from my training right down to nutrition to everything, sleep, everything.
We're going to see a different animal then in 2 weeks' time. Obviously, you know, not that we haven't already seen the animal inside you already, because, you know, you're probably 99% maniac and probably 1% dead on, sort of, when you're in the ring. But obviously, I guess that you know, that moment's gone now where, you know, you're 14 fights in, you want big fights, you want money fights, you want to actually feel something as a pro. Belts sometimes probably don't feel like value to you. You want to have fights now where you can go, let's catapult myself up to the higher spectrum of boxing and make a lot more money out of it.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it's all about now. For me, it's big fights and money. That's what it boils down to. The way I look at it now, I need to take things seriously now. And like, listen, I'm still going to enjoy the ride. I'm still going to be a fun maniac. I'm still going to do what I'm doing. I'm still going to be happy. I'm going to enjoy it. But I want to have 3 good years out of it. 3-4 good years max. Get out of the game. 33 with a few quid in the pocket. I want to have a house. I have goals set that I want to achieve outside of boxing, but boxing's going to get me them goals. And I'm still very hungry to get success. So that's what I want now. I'm at this stage in my life where it has to come. Now, I've said this before, but I'm really at this stage now where it's like no prisoners. Like, just get in, do things right, or don't do them at all.
And obviously it shows that ambition when you were looking at Sandor, Martin and Ohara, Davies. You just want to, I guess in some ways you probably want to get revenge for Tyrone, and obviously the fact that it was, in my opinion, it was robbed in the Ohara Davies fight where he was winning off the back foot and judges didn't see it his way. So it's getting a bit of revenge for him while Tyrone gets revenge for Paddy Gall.
Yeah, 100%. That's the way it works for you all Belfast men. All stick close together and do a turn for one another. So that would be lovely. Maybe sometime in the future it'll still happen. Who knows? But it's definitely something that I would love to do.
And obviously you sort of looked at the potential. I know that Ray Millett was looking to fight Tyrone, and you'd obviously throw in your roar in there as well. I guess, a decent domestic dust-up you wouldn't rule out as well with Ray Millett.
No, not at all. Not at all. As I say, domestic fights always stand by. Win, lose, or draw. So I've been there.
You sort of losing a wee bit there just with the sound going off. I guess another one we could sort of maybe talk about as well. It obviously fought the other day, Dara Foley. Obviously had a 6-round war. Yeah. Although he's moving up to welterweight now, I believe it was more like a catchweight fight. But he had a war yesterday in Australia, and I think it ended up finishing after 5 rounds. But I think with the talk
of it, heads or something, he won points. It was a clash of heads. I've seen that. He actually performed well for a play to him.
I think I only made him look up at the Lomachenko sort of just rushing in, and he was able to pop him and move. But I think the talk was in Australia yesterday we're going to finish it off in the car park.
That would be delightful, wouldn't it?
It would.
Let them get it on. Take it on outside. Finish the rest of the fight outside. There's no rules.
I guess it's like, what was that film? Was it one of the martial art ones where somebody gets disqualified for an eye gauge and then out in the car park and they were fighting over the cars?
100%. That's the way to do it. Get everyone involved. Get the rest of the crowd involved too while they're at it.
Definitely is. So obviously one on 6th of August, obviously then back out in October. Is there anybody ideally, I guess nobody's off the cards, you sort of fight anybody, sort of any time, any place, anywhere?
100%. It's the same. My main focus is August 6th, just first. And like I was telling, I take whoever it is. I don't even know who my opponent is at the minute. They haven't got me an appointment. They're as talk. Lee's been talking to different opponents trying to get something sorted. So, as I say, it's just to get the cobwebs off. But I'll not underestimate them regardless. They're still dangerous fighters. And they're rare to hit you. You can't take your eye off that. As well, so main focus is on that for now. And then again, out in October, I'm going to go away on a family holiday and stuff. Really enjoy my time away, and then just kick back into gear again, back down with Pete, training full time, and set another goal. Another goal will be set for October and before the end of the year to get out and put a good end to this year.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Sean, obviously, thank you very much for your time this evening. Obviously, I'm sure we'll catch up with you, and obviously in fight week, and it's pretty much it starts in less than 2 weeks' time. So I'm sure we're going to catch up with you then. We'll see if we can find something to talk about in fight week as well. Obviously, so that
100%.
So we can obviously keep everybody entertained with bang groovy chip.
Well, we better bang groovy chip. There'll be no problem, right? Don't worry.
But obviously, I hope you enjoy the last week or so of camp, and obviously, I'm sure we'll catch up with you very soon.
100%, lads, spot on.
Okay, Sean, take care. Thank you. Thanks. Bye bye.